episode 193 of Coffee and Co-Read, your source for all things literary with Catherine
and Kristen, where we believe there's nothing better than a hot coffee and an awesome book. Join us for a virtual book club where we take one book a month and dive into all the drama, adventure, and romance we can find.
Woo!
Hi, Catherine.
Hey, Kristen.
So it is the month of November.
Ugh, why and how?
It is November 7th, to be exact. Therefore, it is the first Friday of November.
I do like Fridays.
Who doesn't love a Friday? Therefore, it is New Book Month. Yay.
Yay.
So the book that we have decided to do this month, if you listened to last week, you already know what's coming. And if you clicked on this episode, you saw the title, so you know what's coming. But we're doing Gild by Raven Kennedy. So, as always, we start this month off, and we start this book off by talking a little about the book itself, how we found it, and I guess our experiences with it since it's been released. So this book has a funny story because both of us read it independently of each other without, well, not a lie. You read it before I did. Mm-hmm. But you didn't.
I don't think I told you I read it.
Tell me that you read it. So then when I found it and read it, I suggested it to you to read, and you were like, "Oh yeah, I read that one." So how did
I think we had a conversation on the podcast about it before. God only knows what book we were reading at the time, but it's a possibility you already heard about us having this realization in real time.
Possibly.
Yeah.
So tell us how you found out about it, because obviously you found out about it first.
Well, yeah, we both did find out about it independently, I guess. So, I don't really know how I found it. I must have seen something on like TikTok or Instagram, and then I just had KU at some point, and I was like, "Cool, I'm gonna read this." And it's really funny because both of us read up to the exact same point in this series and then gave up.
Yep.
And it seems kind of wild because it was like before we really got to the good stuff too.
Yeah. Is it?
Well, kind of. There might have been like yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. And obviously we're not trying to spoil a 6-book series here, but I'm assuming I found the book through Instagram, and then Kindle Unlimited. Or I might have even just searched things on Kindle Unlimited and just ended up finding it through a trope or something. I don't really remember. But I definitely read the first 3 books fully, and then I think I read them like boom, boom, boom. And then by the time I got to the 4th one, I was like, I'm slowing down. I don't know if I care anymore. What about you? How did you find it?
I think it was probably something similar. But yeah, like, I think actually, I have a feeling that I actually probably found this series because of a Facebook group, and somebody probably suggested the Plated Prisoner series, and I was like, oh, I wonder what that is. And then I also looked it up on Kindle Unlimited because I definitely read it on Kindle Unlimited. Yeah. And I really enjoyed the twist on a folk tale, right? It's sort of all about like King Midas and having like the Midas touch and stuff like that, which I thought was really neat. But yeah, like I think we got to the same part. So it's Gild, then Glint, then Gleam, then Glow, then Gold, then Goldfinch. Mm-hmm. And I think both of us stopped around the same point in Glow, which is the 4th book.
I think so. And I don't think it was very far into the 4th book.
No, it was not. No. I wasn't crazy about where it was going.
And we both stopped there independently. Like, we started talking about the book after both of us had already gotten to that point and stopped. Which is just so, like, if nothing else tells you how in sync we are with reading.
Yeah, it's a true story. It was really weird. But funnily enough, like, rereading it now, I realize how much I've forgotten. Because, like, in my brain, so here's what I'm going to struggle with throughout reading this book this month, is that I read all 3, like, Gild, Glint, and Gleam. Like, and
boom, boom,
the
boom.
first bit of Glow very quickly together. Like, yeah, boom, 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 boom. So I really forget where one stops and the next one starts.
Exactly.
And in my brain, not that not a lot happens in the books, but, like, I feel like not a lot happens in the books. So, like,
yeah,
I'm really confused as to, like, I'm trying to remember, like, how much information we get in this book. Who do we meet?
Yeah.
How much do we find out? And, like, that's really messing with my head.
I agree completely, because I'm like, I remember highlights of the 3 books.
Yes.
And I'm like, was that in this book? Is that in the next book? Like, am I losing my mind? Yes. You know? So that part's going to be interesting. And so, yeah, we've both read this book. But I almost want to read the last page of this book to see how it ends, to be like, okay, now I know where to cut off my thoughts. I'm not actually going to, because I wouldn't do that, even though it's not even a spoiler, but still feels like a spoiler to me. Stupid.
I may.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I don't really remember what happens in this book, but there's a lot of little things that are happening that I don't really remember either.
I forgot all about the ribbons.
I did too. And it takes so long to get to them. And I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah. I was like, at first, when they were, because I'm not going to lie, I was sort of pressed for time this week. So I actually did not read your section.
Oh, yeah.
I just, because we've read it before. So, like,
yeah,
I was like, I'll remember it at some point.
I'll tell you what happens.
And you'll tell me what happens, and it's fine. So when I started reading my section and it kept talking about her and her ribbons, I was like, what the fuck? Like, she's not allowed to wear clothes. She has to wear ribbons around her all the time. Is this, like, something all the saddles have to wear? Is ribbons?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh yeah, the ribbons.
Yeah.
So, like,
yeah, no, that's fair.
yeah. So, you know, it's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah. I guess we'll just get into it, because, like we said, we don't know where it's gonna end. So just a heads up, this is not a spoiler-free zone. We'll try not to spoil the rest of the series. If something comes up, we'll give a warning before we say anything. Because we don't know where each book ends. So if we say anything we know from the future of this series, it could be any book.
We're so sorry. Really up until 3, because
yeah,
we barely got through the beginning of 4. If anybody has read 4, 5, 6,
yeah,
and has words of encouragement for us and thinks we should really try and push through, because I mean, everyone says that about a Throne of Glass. You gotta push through, but
not the 4th of 6.
I know, but, like, you know, every series might have one you gotta push through, so maybe this is the one you gotta push through. Yeah, for the love of God.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree.
But yeah, so, like, should we push through? Let us know, please.
And we might have just fucked ourselves over by just going too hard, too many all at once, and then kind of getting sick of the writing, the characters. Like, that's a lot. 3 and a bit books is a lot to read about one character without, like, taking a breather.
Yeah. My issue, too, was that, like, it was getting a bit on the political side, which I wasn't, like, it's not my favorite thing, the political stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about it, so... Anyway,
Yeah. And things might get saucy. And this book is saucy.
Is it?
Which just in that people are having sex a lot.
Yeah, that's true. And exploiting women a lot. That's some fun.
Yeah.
So guys, I do
And
want to...
they do use the C word a lot.
They do, yeah. I do want to put out a disclaimer that, like, this book is infuriating in how it treats women. And, like, well done to Raven Kennedy for, like, really highlighting that and, like, showcasing that as, you know, a societal systemic issue in this book. But it is, I find it really infuriating at points when I'm reading it, because I'm like, I just want to smack every man in the face.
Yeah. And it really, like, to tie it back to Songbird and the Heart of Stone. Mm-hmm. Did I get that name right?
You did.
Maybe?
You did.
It's very similar in the way that, like, it's portraying an abusive relationship. It just really reminded me of the abusive relationship in that one.
Yeah.
And we'll get into it in the specifics and stuff, but it's so obvious, and, like, it's kind of wild. That whole, the dynamic, the love.
Yeah.
Wild. Anyway.
The manipulation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into it.
Yeah. Might as well.
Or what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, unlike with the whole Tamlin Feyre thing in ACOTAR and moving into Akamath and that whole, like, dynamic of, like, not realizing all the red flags. Like, first time I read that book, I was like, Tamlin! You weren't, but I was.
But I just didn't like anybody.
No, I know.
It wasn't Tamlin's fault.
No, that's true. But I, like, unlike with that book, when I was completely oblivious to all his red flags until looking back and reading it a second time, being like, oh yeah, it's kind of a red flag there. Unlike that, for this, I was like, ugh, he's not a good dude.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, like we said, we're reading Gild by Raven Kennedy. So Raven Kennedy is a romantasy writer with many different books, including a Why Choose romance series called The Heart Hassle, which sounded like something I'd want to read. So I might look into it. She has two other series, Pack of Misfits and Hellgate Guardians, that she co-authored with Ivy Asher, who I'm not sure who that author is, but she also has done 3 standalones that she co-authored with Ivy Asher, and just 4 standalones on her own. And she, like, super recently announced a new duology that's expected in 2026, and it's inspired by the tale of the Pied Piper with a fae twist to it.
Neat.
And I don't really know the Pied Piper tale.
Isn't it just a town is plagued by rats and they hire a guy to come and get the rats out and he plays his pipe?
Interesting. And I honestly...
The rats follow him out of town?
Do they eat him? Like, where do they go? Does he just have an army of rats?
No.
I don't think I've ever heard the tale, but I'll probably look into it before I read these books, because it's nice to know, like, this book is really cool because you've heard of Midas, and then you read this book, and it's got a cool take on it. So I feel like it'd be good to know that before trying this. But anyway, so this series is called The Plated Prisoner, and, like I literally just said, it's a King Midas retelling, and it has 6 books, and Kristen already said them all. The most recent one, Goldfinch, was released in 2024, so last year. And the Plated Prisoner series is set to become a television series.
Is it?
I don't know why I said that, so weird. A TV show.
No way.
Yeah. It's at such a stage that it has a showrunner. I'm not sure if there's anything else about it. That's what I saw on her website. So that's all I really know about it.
I'm assuming having a showrunner is good?
I mean, I feel like that means something's happening, but on the Akatar show, the showrunner was the same showrunner as Outlander, and it still got trashed. So, like, it's a step, but there's obviously more steps.
Ugh.
So we'll see. It's like every series. I'm like, there's so many book series becoming TV series, and I'm like, where are they? And I say it all the time. And honestly, they could have come out, and I might never notice because I don't know where I'd see it. But anyway.
But I would tell you.
Yeah. And I'm sure it would be on, like, Instagram and TikTok and, like, you know.
Yeah.
We'd go to theaters if it was a movie. A lot of them are shows, though. So anyway, week 1, chapters 1 to 8. So the book starts with the king has called her, our main character, into the atrium to watch him and 6 of his royal saddles having sex. So royal saddles are literally just servants to the king. Sex servants, I guess, is what you call them.
It's like concubines or like a harem.
Yeah. So she's in a gilded cage drinking wine, and she's looking out the glass ceiling of the atrium, and there's a snowstorm, but she can see one star. And it makes her wonder if the royals wanted to chart the secrets of the gods in the stars, or if they had the window put there so that the gods could watch them. And that sentence just made me wonder if there were going to be gods in this series.
Oh.
Because, like, so many series have gods, and honestly, I can't remember if they come up. Spoiler alert. I don't think they do in what I've read.
Not in what we've read.
But, honestly, 3 full books, really, left. They could come up.
They could.
She also mentions here that this room that's, like, half window is the closest she gets to being outside. And I'm like, imagine.
Yikes.
Wild. So one of the saddles, Risa, cries out, and our main character looks back, and there are 6 saddles, which is the king's number, because he's the ruler of the 6th kingdom of Auren. And there are 5 women and 1 man here. And she thinks that she's the king's favorite saddle, though she prefers to be called the king's favored. And he's currently there fucking 1 woman and just, like, groping 2 other women's boobs because he's a boob guy.
Is he?
That's what she said.
That's nice.
So our main character is wearing gold, and it's all she ever wears, touches, or sees. And all the plants are gold in this whole room, except the window is gold. And gold is King Midas's theme at Highbell Castle. And even the pet bird is lifeless and gold. And she says the castle exterior is gold, and it's lucky there's never any sun, or it would be, like, impossible with all of the glare off of it. Which is kind of funny.
Yikes.
There's also a solid gold bell that tolls with a warning when there's a blizzard coming, and it, like, is meant so that people for miles and miles can hear it, and it warns them to stay inside. And I assume that's going to come up, but I don't really remember it coming up, but it's gotta.
Yeah.
So she goes to pour more wine for herself, but her wine pitcher is empty. And she looks over, and Polly, another saddle, is having sex with the king now. And she's just feeling jealous. And she wants some wine, so she eats some grapes, and she hopes that they'll ferment in her belly. And I think this was the moment that I was like, I think I love this main character, because she's fucking hilarious. So there's 3 saddles in this melange that are new, and there's a very pretty sculpted man who's standing and holding a woman up with, like, his arms in front of his face so that he can eat her out.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and just holding her there. And I'm like, damn, I would just want to watch that. because that's an impressive feat. And then someone is also sucking him off.
Oh my god.
And it's... You didn't read this part. I told you, it's saucy.
Yeah. It's just... Yeah.
So, and then Midas just tells Polly that her cunt is boring him.
Oh my god.
And he tells another woman that he wants her ass.
Oh my god.
And he just starts fucking her in the ass. And she immediately moans, and our main character is just whispers faker. And she thinks not that she'd know firsthand, because the king hasn't done that to her. And she's like, thankfully. And I'm like, is it a choice, though? Like, I don't think she'd have a choice either way. It's, ugh. And then the king just comes and then orders everyone back to the harem wing for the night. And some of them don't come, but they just leave because they know that they can't complain. And she kind of wonders if they'll get off when they get to the wing, but because she doesn't know, because she isn't allowed to go there, which is interesting because she's also a saddle, so you'd think
she would be treated like one.
Yeah. So Midas is alone in the room now, and she thinks that he's beautiful, and he's in his 30s, and he's slim and broad and tanned, and he's blonde, and there's a charm about him that always gets her. And he asks her if she's getting an eyeful and calls her Auren. So that's her name. We finally got her name. And she blushes, but she says that it's a nice view. And he comes over to her and says that she looks good enough to eat tonight. And she says that he could let her out and have a taste. And she says it playfully on purpose, but she thinks like she actually means it. And she thinks like she knows that he cares for her, but lately she wants more. And she knows that she shouldn't, but she can't help it. And she thinks he's a king and she should be grateful for what she gets. And like, these are all red flags.
Yeah, I hate it.
These are the reddest flags.
They're very red.
And then she thinks that he's playful tonight, which reminds her of when they became friends, when she was a lost girl, and he showed her a different life. And he looks at her again, and she knows it isn't her curves he sees, but her golden skin. So I'm like, it wouldn't be much better if he sees your curves. He should see you.
Yeah.
He should care about you, not about your body, your skin, all of this shit. But okay. But then she thinks, like, it's not golden, or, like, tells the reader. Her skin isn't golden like tan. Her skin is actually gold. It's gilded. Even her hair and irises are golden. Her teeth and her eyes are white, and her tongue is pink. But everything else is golden.
Woo!
Which is wild. But can you imagine if she had like a grill gold teeth? Be pretty funny.
I mean, it would be very funny, but thank God we don't have that sort of situation.
Yeah. So she thinks she's an oddity. She is the only one that he has ever gold touched. And he keeps her in a cage at the top of his castle, her body bearing the mark of his ownership. And she says that with, like, pride.
Mm-hmm. Even though she's like, living in a cage.
And, like, once you've read the book, you're like...
Yeah.
Okay. Then she thinks, like, people flock to see her, the gold-plated prisoner... But what a pretty prison it is. And that's like the tagline of the book.
Is it actually? What a pretty prison it is?
Yeah. Well, there's a few.
Okay.
A gilded cage is still a prison is on the front. Right. But like I think like one of the first pages of the book is just that quote. So the longer she looks at the king, the more she forgives him. And he comes over and, like, pets her face through the bars and says that she is so precious to him. And she doesn't move because she doesn't want him to stop touching her. So she's afraid if she does something, it'll be the wrong thing. And it's like, that's
also a flag.
That's not okay.
That's a red flag.
Yes. We're going to have to name these the same as we named all of the Actor episodes with all the red flags.
Yeah.
So he asks if she enjoyed watching, and she says that she would have enjoyed participating. And he says that she's too precious to pile in with the other saddles, and she's worth far more than them. And he likes her watching because it makes him hard.
A little bit of voyeurism.
Yeah. But if she liked it, sure. But she doesn't like it.
No.
That's why it's one-sided, and he's an idiot. And she knows she shouldn't say anything, but she says that the other saddles resent her and the servants talk. So she should participate some night, even if it is just him that touches her.
Wrong thing to say.
And 100% the wrong thing to say. And this is where we kind of see him turn for the first time. Even though, like, the rest of it was kind of red flaggy, this is, like, the bad one. So he says that she is his to do with as he wishes, and if he wants to keep her in caged quarters where only he can get her, that's his right. And she agrees, but she just thought, and he cuts in and says that she isn't here to have thoughts. And she thinks he was in such a good mood, and she ruined it.
Yikes.
Which is like the quintessential, like, abusive relationship dynamic of when somebody is an abuser.
Yes.
That's how they make you feel.
Yeah.
Like you're the one that ruined it by saying the wrong thing, even though
it's the abuser's fault for not controlling their emotions or for getting upset over something so slight.
Yeah. And then he keeps going, and he asks if he treats her well and bestows every comfort. And she agrees. And he says there are whores in the street trying to make a coin, and she's here and complains. And she knows, we don't, but she knows that he's right, and it could be, and was worse, and she has so many advantages here. And I'm like, is this just showing us how women are treated in general in this world? Or, like, is this actually, like, I don't know, because obviously women aren't treated well here.
No.
Or even lowers, because, like, it wasn't just women that were saddles either.
But it's predominantly women.
Yeah. Because the kings are men.
Yeah.
So, she thinks that in her life before, she was child trafficked. And she ran away once and was actually with nice people, but raiders came. And luckily, Midas saved her from them. And I'm like, is this another underworld situation where he set the raiders on them and then she was saved by him, but he was really the one that did it? I'm like,
oh, underworld. Still on our list.
One of these days we'll be like, we actually did it. Maybe over Christmas break.
Smart.
Like, we're getting so fucking close to Christmas.
Do you know I only have 6 weeks of school left?
Really?
After this week?
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I'm here for Christmas this year, so we can do things.
Amazing.
So exciting. So she obviously feels bad for suggesting anything wrong and pissing him off, and he sees that she's remorseful, so he changes his tactic, and it's like, it's textbook.
Yeah.
And he says to her, that's my precious girl, and then he pets her. And it's just like, was Raven Kennedy in an abusive relationship? Because this is literally...
It's very accurate.
Yeah. It's bad. And then, of course, Auren thinks that they have a bond that no one can understand.
Ugh.
And she knew him before he wore the crown and before the castle was gold. And she's known him for 10 years. And she's been with him. And she says sorry to him. Does he say sorry to her? No. Did she do anything wrong? No. But she apologizes. Okay.
Ugh.
Um, he tells her that she looks tired and to get some sleep, and he'll call for her in the morning. And she's just like, wait, why the morning? You only call me at night. And he says that King Folk is leaving tomorrow. And she just thinks that she hates King Folk, and he's the king of the Fifth Kingdom, and he's sleazy, and she doesn't like him because he leers at her. But he has the power of duplication, but it only works on objects, and it only works once. And she thinks it's a good thing it doesn't work on people, or he would have tried it on her. And Folk usually comes a few times a year with a wagon full of things for Midas to touch, and then he likely duplicates it all back home so that he's rich. And she thinks she doesn't know what Midas gets from their alliance, which is interesting. And she thinks Folk is obsessed with her, but it also means that Midas pays more attention to her too, because if someone else is paying attention to her, he'll be like, that's my toy.
Yes,
stop.
Yeah. Keep your paws off.
Yeah. So he just says that she'll come for breakfast, and then he leaves. So she just tries pulling on the cage bars, but she doesn't have enough strength. And she thinks she wouldn't even run if she got out. She would stay and follow Midas to his bedroom.
Oh. So
she loves him.
She's well trained.
Yeah, she has the feels real bad. So she looks over at the gilded bird that's there and says to it that she knows that he's keeping her safe, and she has so much and shouldn't be greedy, and things could be worse. And I'm like, that's not a ringing endorsement for King Midas.
That things could be worse.
Yeah. But she also wonders, and this is interesting, if one day she will solidify too, like the bird. And she thinks like it's a real fear that she has. And she doesn't know how the power could change over time. Interesting tidbit. Mm-hmm. But she constantly tries to think on the bright side. And she thinks like her cage has expanded to many rooms, and she's got like barred hallways that like lead to a bunch of different cages in different rooms. So like she has some free reign.
She has space.
Even though it's in a cage. Yeah, I guess. But she can get to the atrium, the drawing room, the library, the royal breakfast room, and her personal rooms, which include a bathroom, dressing room, and bedroom, all within like caged hallways and just bird cages and like...
Yeah. So essentially,
cages.
like, she could be in the atrium and then, like, still in her cage, walk through a hallway and arrive in a different room that's caged. And then, like, go through a hallway to another room that's caged. Like, she's just constantly walking back and forth. It's, like, almost one big cage, but that's spread out among different rooms.
Yeah. And she does think sometimes Midas does take her out to take her to the throne room. Like, interesting.
That's nice.
And she thinks the gold has kind of... Sorry. The gold has all faded for her, and she thinks a cage is a cage no matter how gilded. And she thinks that she asked him to protect her, and he is, and she's the one ruining this. And sometimes when she drinks enough wine, she forgets she's in a cage, so she drinks a lot of wine.
Yikes.
And I'm just like, this is sad.
Yeah, her life is very sad.
Yeah. So we also get another flashback, and she thinks when she was 5, her village burnt down, and all of the kids were like taken from the houses and like marched single file to go to safety, but then thieves attacked and gagged them all and like killed the adults with them. And that's how she first got trafficked, which is wild. So I'm like, I guess her parents are still alive,
potentially. Yeah, I would say.
And like, I don't think, spoiler alert, I don't think we met them.
I don't think so, no.
So she also thinks that her mother used to tell her that the stars were goddesses waiting to be born. And she, while she was being attacked, she was praying that one would be born to come and save her. And there's one star that she can see now. And she thinks, like, looking at the stars makes her think of her parents and how much she's forgotten them over the years. And I think she's 25. I could be making that up, but I guess it might be 20 years since she saw them. And she thinks that if the stars are goddesses, that they should stay up there because it's bad here. And, like, she thinks she has a great life, and she doesn't. But for her to be like, it's shitty here when she thinks that she's got, like, the best lot, it's just so sad.
Yeah. Yeah, this book in particular, it's not very happy.
No. So she wakes up to the bell ringing, and a wine bottle falls off of her lap. And a new guard says that it's about time she woke up. And an older guard that she normally has, called Digby, who's always there, is also there, but he doesn't really talk to her much. But she asks this new guard's name, and she thinks he looks young, and she thinks, like, all men are conscripted at 17 unless they have farming rights into Midas's army. And this new guy tells her that his name is Jacques, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Digby tells him not to talk to her because it's their orders, and Jacques asks if Digby thinks that her cunt is gold. And Auren just says that it's rude of him to talk about her like she isn't there, but he says she's a saddle, and that's all she is. Great.
So she's a warm body.
We're teaching our 17-year-old men
that
things.
Women have no value except for their body.
Yeah.
Great. I love this for us.
Yeah. So Digby tells Jacques that the king will have his head if he hears him talking about her like that. And Jacques then asks how the king did it and says, shouldn't she be solid gold if the king touched her? Because the bird is.
Yep.
And I was like, huh, interesting. But Digby says some things turn solid and others keep their shape, like curtains and like pillows and bedspreads and stuff are still comfy, but they're gold. So like the magic is interesting.
Yeah.
And then Digby just sends Jacques to do the rounds and tells Auren to get ready. So she goes to the dressing room, and some guards will like follow her when she goes there, but Digby doesn't because he is a respectful man, not a piece of shit. Like,
well, to a point, he is guarding a woman in a cage.
Yeah.
Which also, like, why does she need a guard if she's in a cage?
I don't know.
You know what? That just seems counterintuitive. You have her locked away. You hold, presumably, I'm assuming Midas is the only one with the key. So, like, why does he also need someone guarding her all the time?
Well, and then what happens later? I just don't really understand it. So she picks out a golden dress that has no back. And she says all of her dresses are golden, and none of them have any backs. Because she's not allowed to wear any other color. And also because she has 24 long golden ribbons that sprout out of her back from her shoulder to her tailbone. And they're long like a train behind her, so people usually think that they are part of her dresses. And before Midas saved her, she grew them, but it was painful for weeks as they grew.
Interesting.
Which is interesting. And she doesn't know of anyone else with ribbons, and all the royals have powers, or they wouldn't have their crowns, but some commoners also have magic. So it sounds like she's one of these commoners that has magic as well.
Yeah, except her magic is her quote-unquote ribbons.
Yeah. So she puts on her dress, and then she sits at her table, and her ribbons are prehensile, so they're, like, able to move independently.
Which is so weird.
I know. I can't even imagine.
It reminds me of, like, Doc Ock from, like, Spider-Man.
Yeah. So her ribbons braid her hair, and she has a lot of hair because the king won't let anyone near her for anything. So she has to cut her own hair, and she doesn't do it often because she's not very good at it. So a servant comes to say that the favored is summoned, and Digby asks if she's ready, and she tries to banter with him, but he's not having it. And she says that one day she's going to crack him. And I kind of remember something about their relationship, but barely. And I'm like, I feel like there's something important about him.
Isn't it very, like, father-daughter-ish? Like, because he's an older guy. Like, that sounds familiar to me.
Yeah, maybe. I just feel like something, I don't know. I feel like there's something, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
So she gets to the breakfast room, and she's glad that she won't have to eat because she's so hungover that she'd vomit. And she thinks that King Midas looks so handsome, and King Fulk looks so not handsome, and he's all in purple because that's his color. And he's just in, like, leggings, and she's like, ugh, he looks gross. And he has Polly and Rissa, the two saddles that we got the names of
last night.
From the night before, are each on one of his thighs, feeding him as he gropes them. Like, great, this is breakfast.
Good for them.
Yeah. And she thinks that the women don't like her because she's the king's favorite and Folk's favorite, and she's just competition. And saddles get replaced by newer, firmer, prettier saddles as soon as, like, they can, really. And Auren thinks that they would like her if they got to know her because she's fun. And she thinks maybe she'll ask Midas if some of the girls can come up sometime because she could use the company. I'm like, obviously he's not going to let you. He's keeping you isolated.
But yeah, like he won't even let anyone near you to cut your hair.
I feel bad for her. And I usually hate when girls are catty and bitchy. But in this situation, I think it would be impossible not to be.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I feel like I get it. It's a bit different. So Midas acknowledges her, and she knows that he wants her to just sit and play her harp. So that's what she does. And King Folk says that he enjoys looking upon Midas's gold-touched whore, and she bristles at that word. And Folk asks if Midas will touch one of his saddles, but he says that he has set Auren apart. And Folk says that he can see why, because she's so beautiful. And Midas says, of course she's beautiful, she's mine. Ugh. And then Folk offers to pay him handsomely for one night with her. And she misses a note on the harp, because she's like, what the fuck? And everyone tenses in the room, all waiting for Midas to lose his shit. But Auren looks over, and she can tell that Midas is actually thinking about it. And Folk asks an amount, and she starts to panic, of course. Mm-hmm. But Midas says, look around, he doesn't need any money. He doesn't need anything from Folk. And Folk offers him something else. And one of Folk's advisors tries to cut him off, but Folk is just like, no, shut up. And Midas says one night, and he gets Folk's army for the attack next week, and he wants them mobilized today to catch up with his armies at Forth's borders. And Auren just grabs the harp string so hard that she starts to bleed, and her blood is gold, so she starts bleeding gold. And Folk says they can't catch up with his army, and that Midas knows his stance, and it's against the Auren Covenant. And Midas says that his army could catch up if he sends word today, and if Midas's army changes course. And Midas says that he's attacking that... No, Midas says that Folk has attacked Forth's borders, but Folk retorts that and says that Forth was pushing onto his land and spreading his rot, and he was just defending it. But what Midas is doing is more. But Midas says it's time to cut Forth off before he can encroach on territory that isn't his. And Auren is just surprised at this conversation because King Ravenger from Forth has the nickname King Rot, which is interesting. I'm like, what is his power? Just
rotting.
Okay. And he's powerful, brutal, and vicious. And Folk's advisors start whispering to him. And Falk says that they are allies and he supports his endeavor, but one night with his whore isn't worth the might of his army. And Midas says that he's wrong. A night with his famed, who hasn't been touched by anyone other than him, is worth it. And then Falk says 1 month. And Midas says 1 night or he'll reevaluate Falk as an ally.
Yikes. And
Falk asks if that's a threat, but he says it's a way to solidify their alliance. And Auren says, no, my king, please. And obviously she's not supposed to be heard, just seen. And Falk asks if it's 1 night, no interruptions, to do as he wishes. And Midas just nods at that. And I'm like, that's disgusting. You're all awful.
Ugh. I hate that they're just using a woman's, like, body as bargaining chips.
Payment. Yeah.
Ugh.
I didn't remember this. I'm not surprised, but I didn't remember this. Falk says then that he wants half of Forth, and Midas agrees. And Midas asks about his army, and Falk says that he'll have it moved tonight. And Auren thinks that Midas has never let anyone touch her in 10 years. And Midas saved her. And he said he took one look at her and loved her. And she loved him back. And she panics. And she says, no, Tyndall, please. And she thinks he used to let her call him by his first name, but he doesn't anymore. And he just tells her to remember her place as a saddle, to be ridden by whomever he wishes.
Yeah.
Ugh. And then Falk offers to punish her and says that he's had success with his saddles. And Midas says no punishment. And I'm like, you can't say no punishment now. You just nodded at him that he could do whatever he wanted with her for a full night. Yeah. Like, you agreed to that. That was your bargain. You can't go now and say, no, you can't punish her. But Falk says he won't lay a hand on her, just his cock. And then he laughs. Because he's a piece of shit.
Like they all are.
And, yeah. And Midas tells her to sit pretty and play her silly music and leave the men to speak. So she does. And she thinks she plays this song for the man she loved since she was 15. And she cries. Oh, yeah, this is why I think she's 25. Because it's been 10 years and she's loved him since she saw him the first time and she was 15. Right. And she cries for the man who promised to keep her safe, who is giving her to another, and there's nothing she can do.
Yikes. So, King Falk. His name sounds like fuck.
It does, yeah. And is that on purpose?
I hope so. So obviously he doesn't leave. And I'm like, now that, like, we've gone through the rest, I'm like, he was supposed to leave?
Yeah, so that was the morning he was leaving, right?
Right. Yeah. Yes, yeah, okay. So
that's why she went.
Yes.
Even though it was just...
Right. So, obviously he does not leave. And instead, he starts, like, sending out letters to rally his army to meet up with Midas's army. Mm-hmm. And, like, I guess they have, like, planning sessions in the library. And so, like, she, like, subtly hangs out in the library and reads a book to listen in on their conversations. And, like, they're meeting up with advisors and stuff. And I'm like, you guys are dumb. Like, if you legit think she's just there to read. Like, obviously she can hear you.
But they don't care.
I guess. Like, I know there's nothing she could do about it. But, like, really, you don't like, I just find that stupid that they, like, see her there, see that she's reading a book, and it's like, oh, we can still talk about everything. She's not gonna hear us, or, like, whatever.
She's just a woman.
Yeah, I hate it. So Falk's men, she overhears, are gonna be meeting up with Midas's army tomorrow, and together they're gonna breach Fourth Kingdom's borders and destroy the peace pact of Aurea, or Aurea, whatever you want to call it. So I guess Aurea is the country?
Yeah, I think so.
Continent, whatever.
Yeah.
And all the 6 kingdoms. There's only 6, right?
Yeah. My book has disappeared.
Oh.
Oh, I brought it to my room so I could read it in bed. This is... But yeah, I think so.
Okay, so there's 6 kingdoms, so I guess Aurea is the continent, and then each kingdom is, I guess, for lack of a better word, a country. So it does seem like, though, that they didn't really explain it very in-depth, that, like, in their mind, Fourth Kingdom has sort of encroached on their land slightly.
They kind of mentioned it a tiny bit, because... Midas said to Falk that he has fought him, and Falk was like, yeah, but only just on the tiny bit that he encroached.
Yeah. So, like, seems like he's encroaching a little tiny bit, and they're taking it, like...
Too far.
Yeah.
But it's also, like, if you're thinking about rot as a thing...
it spreads.
Yeah. Right? Like,
yeah.
It's not unreasonable to think that.
Yes, I do agree with you. Like, in my brain, like, when I think of it, is the encroaching on their, like, crossing the border, is it just the rot that is slowly seeping across the border? That's what I think of it. And it's like, I'm thinking maybe 1 meter, 2 meters.
Yeah, but also, is that... I guess I'm of two minds, because I'm like, is that his fault that it's encroaching because you're not stopping the encroachment at your borders? Or is it the person who's on that side of the border's responsibility to stop it? And, like, we could get into a fucking political thing about it, but I cannot.
Yeah.
I refuse to relate it to actual politics.
No, we can't. But also, like, we have to think, too, is it just nature taking its course? Like, yeah, he does hold power over, like, rot, obviously, and, like, being able to, like, make alive things die, but, like, is that just nature spreading? In which case, that's no one's fault. That's like getting mad that somebody's dandelion spread dandelions onto your lawn. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a weed. You can't.
People do get mad about that.
I know, but I think that's silly.
I know. I do too. But they do get mad about it.
Okay, fine. Anyway, so Auren is just sitting there, and she's, like, pretending to read, and she's listening. And, like, again, they don't pay her any mind because she's a woman. But, like, she is pissed.
Of course.
Because from listening, she interprets that Midas has actually been planning this for a while. Meaning, in her brain, that him inviting her to breakfast to play the harp was intentional. He was intentionally baiting and luring King Midas, or not, sorry, King Falk, like, to get him to agree to participate. And that pisses her off, that Midas has been sort of so manipulative. Which is like, it's his bread and butter, manipulation.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the two kings are talking, and she's listening, and they are slightly concerned about how they're going to break the peace treaty. Because they need to make it look like the Fourth Kingdom breached it first, or else all the kingdoms are going to have to back up. Like, they're going to have to be on the side of the Fourth Kingdom. And, like, send them the two of them and be on the opposite sides of the war, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like, is it NATO is one of those countries where if you attack one of the NATO countries, you attack all the NATO countries? Like, they all got to back you up? Allegedly. So, it's like that.
Yeah.
They're all in this peace treaty, and if one gets attacked, then they all rally behind that one that's getting attacked. So, they need to make it look like Fourth Kingdom attacked them so that they're not the ones that is facing down the rest of the kingdoms. And Midas just thinks it's going to be easy. And he's like, people in Fourth Kingdom, they all hate their king. They don't want him in there anymore. They want to be rid of him. They all call him King Rot. And apparently, like, the smell that comes off of their land at the border is, like, disgusting. And they gotta, like, put nose plugs in and, like, or cloth soaked in, like, perfume or something in order to pass them. Like, apparently nobody likes the king there. And Auren then thinks about King Rot's reputation, and apparently he rots his land to keep his citizens in line. And, like, she's also heard that he has no honor even on the battlefield. Like, he's not an honorable fighter.
Of course he's not.
He's not a cool dude, apparently.
Of course he's not.
So, she also figures out while she's listening, and then she also does, like, a little sneaking around at night in the library and, like, reaching for books that are past her cage, but she manages to reach them, that the kings want the Black Root mines. Now, we don't know what's in those mines. They don't tell us yet. But apparently Midas and Fulk have said they're going to split the mines down the middle. So, today, as she's, like, sitting there and listening, Rissa and Polly are the chosen saddles to provide what we'll say is entertainment. So, they have been assigned to Fulk for the day. So, Rissa is dancing. He instructed her to dance. And Polly has to serve him. So, like, refresh his cup, feed him grapes, or feed him food or whatever. Sometimes massage him. Just, pay attention to him. And Rissa has not stopped dancing. She was ordered to start dancing 3 hours ago and is still doing it. And, like, even Auren can tell that she looks tired. And that King Fulk probably kept her up all night, like, sexing her. Raping her, really, because, but, that's not what it is, apparently. And then also is not letting her rest today. So, Auren goes over as far as she can, close to Rissa, in a non-sort of suspicious way. Like, she doesn't walk to Rissa with the intention of talking to her. She just sort of sidles over, like, yawning, stretching, whatever. And tells Rissa to pretend to faint from exhaustion in order to stop dancing. Because she can tell she's tired. And also, she's like, Fulk isn't even paying attention. He hasn't even looked in her direction. So, like, she's dancing, but no one is watching her. And Rissa, and, like, she says, I'll back you up. And I don't really know how she would back her up. Like, and be like, yeah, she's definitely tired. Like, they're not going to believe you anyway. But Rissa is a total bitch and tells her not to speak to her. And calls her gilded cunt. And then says, I don't understand the fascination with your cunt. And, like, yeah, it's just not kind. Like, she can't help it. This is what bothers me, is you can't help the way you are treated. She can't help that Midas keeps her in a cage and calls her his favorite. Like, that has nothing to do with her.
Yeah. I completely agree. And I know I did say earlier that, like, I do get the cattiness to an extent, but it's just fucking weird.
And like,
but also, this is what happens in the world is when you keep people on a lower level, they're gonna fight with each other instead of fighting against their oppressors.
I guess it's just like, I'm just so sick, and we've said it a million times, I'm just so sick of all the cattiness in books between girls.
Yeah.
Like, I know there has to be some sort of conflict. I know there has to be people in your way, in the way of the main character. But for once, I just wish that, like, a main character didn't have to fight girls and cattiness to, like, get through the problem. You know what I'm saying? I wish, like, just for once, a character, like, from the start had a supportive group of girlfriends.
Yeah.
Or, like, not even a supportive group of girlfriends, but, like, just people that didn't, like, girls that weren't like, oh, I hate you because so-and-so wants to fuck you. Because, like, it just seems like there's always that girl or group of girls in a story like that.
I know. I think this one I can forgive a tiny bit more because they're all fucked. Like, normally when girls are just catty to be catty, and I'm like, why are we doing this? Like, why are we pitting women against women?
Yeah.
But when women are fighting for, like, a top position in a, like, hierarchy that fucks them over every time, I'm like, oh yeah, that's why women are pitted against each other.
Yeah.
That's why it's a reality in life. I'm like, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
Because it's real.
I guess, yeah. Anyway, so Auren again offers to help, and like she says, I'll make a distraction. You can rest. But like Rissa refuses to accept her help. And like Auren is just so tired of being the villain, and she wants to help. So she doesn't even really think about it. She just takes the book that she has in her hand and throws it at Rissa, and it hits Rissa in the face.
Fucking stupid.
It was a terrible decision. But it was very instinctual for her. Like, she didn't even really think about it. She just went, ugh, and then just threw the book.
I know, but just because you don't think of something doesn't mean it's not terrible.
Oh, yeah, no, guaranteed. It was not, not a
dumbass.
smart move. So, Arissa falls and starts bleeding from the mouth. And, like, Auren didn't actually mean to throw the book hard, and she didn't mean to throw it at her face. But she's like, oh, well, what's done is done. And I guess Midas, like, obviously heard it and comes over, and he's like, Auren, what the fuck did you do? And makes some guards take Rissa back to the harem wing. But Midas is, like, pissed. And he orders Auren to, therefore, dance in Rissa's place. He's like, you took King Falk's entertainment, so now you have to replace it. So, unlike with Rissa, Falk doesn't stop looking at Auren while she dances. And, like, even approaches her cage and tells her that, like, she's gonna be his tomorrow night. And the guy is, like, a straight-up pig and tells her he's gonna loudly, like, in front of everybody, he tells her he's gonna paint her with so much cum, her skin won't be gold anymore. And I'm like, that's ambitious.
Also, gross.
Super gross. But also, like, women are not limited in their sexual prowess the way men are. Like, men are very limited biologically on how much sex they can have in a given time. Like, they can't just produce unlimited semen.
Yeah.
They have recovery time. So, like, I think he's being a bit boastful here. Like, how many times do you realistically think he could have sex in one night? Or come in one night, not even just sex.
Yeah. We're getting that Midas is young 30s.
Yeah.
And he is balding and older.
Yep.
I've never had
Been
sex with anyone
no,
that is I can't think of the oldest person I had sex with. They definitely weren't in their 50s, I'll tell you that for sure. Like,
yeah. But yeah, so like I can't imagine he can get it up that many times in one night. I just can't. But anyway. So like Midas obviously hears that comment, and Auren thinks that he's like gonna put a stop to it after like he says those really gross, degrading things, but he says nothing. And she just keeps dancing, and she's like, things cannot get worse.
ugh,
But then
you can never think that.
I know, as soon as you think that, it's gonna get worse. So then the queen walks in. So her name is Queen Melina, and apparently she detests Auren. And the queen like sort of sees what everyone is doing, and she freaks out. Like, she freaks out all the saddles. Like, none of them like her. She talks down to all of them, and they're all scared of her. And like, also her and Midas do not have a happy marriage. They don't get along. So he generally tries to keep his saddles separate from the queen. But obviously not today. She's up close and personal with two of them because Polly is there and Auren is there. And she just looks at Polly and says, like, your outfit is disgusting. It is too revealing. Like, have some decorum, essentially. Obviously, Polly didn't choose her own outfit, but nonetheless. Then we sort of learn a little bit of backstory about their marriage. So they've been married for 10 years, and the reason their marriage is not happy is because Midas resents Melina because she has not produced him an heir. And Melina resents Midas because the crown should have been hers. Like, it's her family that are the ruling family. But because she didn't have power, she could not inherit the crown. Very similar to when the moon hatched. You need to have power in order to, like, rule. And she doesn't. So she had to marry someone with power. And then we also learn that the people in Highbell, which I'm assuming is that just like the name of the capital
kingdom.
city?
It's the castle is the Highbell Castle, so I assume so.
So apparently, like, the citizens of this kingdom are sort of split between the rulers, because half of them are still loyal to Melina because they remember her as a princess, remember her father who died right after she got married, which is convenient. So, like, obviously Midas had something to do with that, I feel.
Yes.
He died, like, literally right after they got married. Like, come on.
Yeah, I agree. That happened in another book we read.
Did it?
I can't think of it. My brain's not working.
But the other half of the population, the noble half of the population, are loyal to Midas because he's obviously made them a ton of money since he came to rule. And considering apparently the kingdom was almost broke when he showed up. So Midas and Melina are in the library currently having a silent standoff, and it's like really awkward because she's just saying, like, Polly should not be here in this state of undress. Like, she looks disgusting and, like, essentially gross and tacky, considering they're having a strategy meeting. So Midas eventually dismisses Polly, and then Melina asks to speak to him privately. So they leave through the main doors. And Auren takes this opportunity to escape Fulk's attention while she can. She's like, okay, Midas is gone. He's the one ordering me to do something. So now that he's gone, she's like, I'm gonna leave so that, and hopefully when Midas comes back, he doesn't, like, not that he doesn't remember her, but that he just doesn't notice and or doesn't care that she's no longer there. So she runs just in a direction. She just wants to get out of there. She doesn't want any more folks' attention. And she goes not in the direction of her room. Because, like, as we said earlier, her cage is just a straight shot along, essentially, the back wall of a castle.
Yeah.
So, like, she can travel through that cage, but, oh my god, words.
It's okay.
But, like, if she goes in the wrong direction, she can't loop around or anything like that. She would have to go back through the library to get into her room. So, she goes in the wrong direction, and she goes to the atrium. And she's like, oh, I'll just hide out here for a while. So she's got, like, a blanket and a bunch of pillows on the floor. So she's, like, going to curl up and, like, sit. And all of a sudden, like, she's getting ready. And she's, like, getting under the covers, like, the blankets. And then Midas and Melina actually come into the atrium and they are arguing. So she didn't realize they would choose the atrium to talk in. And she can't really, like, be like, hello, I'm here. Because she knows if she's caught, she would be in a lot of trouble. And, like, also, if Midas sees her, he'll sort of be like, oh, yeah. And then give her another order to, like, maybe go back to the library and entertain folk or something like that. So she wants to really stay out of sight, out of mind. So she hears, like, them arguing right off the bat about how Midas, about the fact that he's starting a war with the Fourth Kingdom without telling her. And Auren's like, shit, I don't have anywhere to go. So she covers herself in pillows and blankets and just tries to pretend she's not there. And I'm like, this is hilarious. Like, what are you thinking, girl?
Yeah.
I really thought that she would sort of maybe instead try and, like, shimmy her way out. But I guess it's too open for that.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. But, like, if they were paying more attention to each other, like, could happen, maybe. I don't know. So, she has to sit and listen to this entire argument. And essentially the queen is annoyed that Midas left her out of the decision about going to war. Because she is the queen. So, like, she thinks she deserves a say. And apparently he also told her that he was moving the army to go over offensive tactics, not to get in a position for a war. So, like, he lied to her. And she just says, she was like, I want to be consulted on these things because Hybel is my kingdom. And her last name is Collier. And she's like, Colliers have ruled this kingdom for generations. And then Midas has to clap back and tell her that she is the first Collier to inherit no power. And essentially her family had drained the royal coffers. And the land was bankrupt when he showed up. And that if he didn't, she would still be a ragged princess with a mountain of debt and no prospects. So essentially she lost Hybel the moment he showed up at the gates. And, like, I feel really bad for her. I know I shouldn't, but I do.
Why shouldn't we feel bad for her? Oh, the queen, you mean?
Yeah.
I feel bad for her too. Because obviously he's a piece of shit.
Yeah. And, like, he essentially stole her kingdom from her. And now she's not even allowed to, like, have a say in how it's ruled. And, like, she really thought this would be her birthright. So, like, I'm sad for her. But, like, even though she can be a straight up bitch.
Yeah. I also feel bad because, like, she's going about things the wrong way, obviously. But she doesn't love that her husband is fucking around with other people. Which I can't really blame her about.
No, but at the same time, it does feel very, like, ingrained in their society. Because, like, he very clearly says he has 6 saddles because they're in the 6th kingdom.
Yeah.
So,
no,
like...
he has more than 6. He just fucks 6 at once.
Oh.
All the time. Like, he has a full-on harem of them.
Oh.
He just only fucks 6 at once because that's his number.
Oh.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
my
okay.
understanding. Sorry.
Okay. No, I sort of thought that it was like a kingdom rule. Like, because he's in the sixth kingdom, he gets 6 saddles. Whereas, like, Falk maybe only get... I don't remember if he's in the fifth. Like, whatever kingdom... Like, if you're in the fifth kingdom,
Yeah,
then you get 5 saddles. If you're in the fourth kingdom, theoretically, you get 4. Like, that's what I thought.
No, it was his choice. It's his choice because 6 is his lucky number because he's the sixth kingdom.
Oh.
He only has 6 buttons on his clothes, and it's tailored that way because he's like super narcissistic about being the sixth.
Okay. Well, never mind then. So, okay. So essentially, like, Queen Melina tells Midas that, like, he is breaking the treaty that the 6 kingdoms have had in place for ages, and he didn't even consult her on it.
Which is fair, because she obviously grew up.
Yes.
Preparing to take this role.
Yeah.
She thought she was going to get power, you know?
Yes.
Like,
probably at, like, 18 or something, like people do.
Yeah.
It must have missed me.
Yeah. So it's like she understands the actual, like, I want to say gravity.
Yeah.
Of doing this. Whereas he maybe doesn't.
Yes. So he just tells her that he knows what he's doing because you can't tell him anything. He's super smart, apparently. And that she should focus on what she should be doing. And she's like, what? You mean like going for walks and working on my knitting? And she's like, I'm not one of your saddles. And he's like, that's right, you're not. And it just insinuates that, like, he has sex with the saddles. He doesn't have sex with her. And then she claps back and she's like, dude, it's not my fault you stopped coming to my bed. Like, it's not my fault you don't visit me in bed anymore. And then he responds in typical male fashion. I say typical male fashion. No guy's ever said this to me, but, like, he's like, since she's barren, she can't conceive, it's a waste of time. So it's a waste of time to fuck her because she can't make a child for him. And he says it's a waste of time, just like this conversation.
Oof.
So, like, he is super dismissive of her. He is not, like, treating her feelings with validity. He is not, like, loving her. Like, he's just a straight up dick. So he goes to, like, walk away. But she tells him that she knows the truth. And I think I know what the answer is, but I don't know if I do. Like,
I don't think we do.
I mean, I think I do. I think we do from reading ahead.
No. I don't think it's that.
You don't think that's what do you think it is? Or no, you
I
can't
don't know
really
what
say.
No, I don't know what the fuck she's talking about, but later some threatening situations happen. And if she knew that, she wouldn't do these threatening situations, in my opinion.
Huh. Okay. Well, that's interesting. We need to bookmark this moment so that we can come back to it if we find anything out.
In 3 books' time.
Yes. Yeah. We will definitely remember. I'm kidding, we won't.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
So, like, she just tells him she knows the truth. And then he gets really scary and essentially tells her to be very careful. And, like, he's essentially threatening her. And that scares her and sort of puts her in her place. Because, like, she's a queen. She's not used to getting threats. And then he just tells her to go back to her rooms. So she does. And Auren watches Midas sort of straighten himself up, fix his hair, and leave. And she knows, like, time is of the essence. She needs to go back through the library and into her room before Midas gets back to the library. So he's got to, like, walk out of the room, probably walk around a little bit. It's less of a straight shot than it is for her. So, she knows if he sees that she isn't in the library, and if he goes to find her in her room and she's not there, he'll know she was in the atrium and heard everything. So she goes to the library, and then we get a little info dump that Midas actually remodeled the top floor of the castle so that she could roam freely. And like we said before, her cage is like a straight line along the back of the castle, with hallways connecting each room, but everything is still behind the cage. So she checks the library, and it looks like Falk and his advisors are eating and not really looking in her direction. So she starts to sort of like creep across the room. Then Midas comes in, and she's like, shit, I'm caught. But she's fine, and she just books it to her room and hides out in there. And like, he doesn't come looking for her, so she's like, whew, I made it. And she even said, like, oh, no, sorry, I'm about to say that. So she stays in her room for a while, and she thinks about like what she's learned this week by listening. And she thinks about how Midas doesn't share his plans with Melina. And she's like, that's just the way he is. Like, he has his own agenda, and he operates on it, and that he's confident, and he does know how to rule, and he's a strong leader, and that's what Hybel needs. So, like, even when he's doing her dirty, she's still on his team. She's still on his side.
Yeah.
Which is stupid.
Oh, but it's 100% manipulation.
Yes. So she sort of like has wasted a bunch of time. She knows that if Midas was going to ask for her by now, he would have already, but he didn't. So like, she's safe to go to bed. So she goes to get ready for bed, and she goes to reach for like a candlestick on her bedside table, but instead she finds a warm body. And I found that confusing of a line. Like, not a line, but like, because theoretically, and I don't mean theoretically, if she is reaching for a candlestick that is normally on her bedside table, we would assume that that candlestick on that bedside table is in her cage.
Yeah, I think it all is in her cage.
Right.
Yeah.
So then she's grasping for it, and she's like, I know it's here. But then she feels a warm body instead of her candlestick on her bedside table. And so originally when I read this part, I was like, shit, somebody is in her cage with her.
Yes, I also thought that.
But that's not the case. It is
was
somebody is on the other side of the cage of the bars.
Yes.
So, like, I don't understand how, one, she's feeling this warm body without feeling any bars on her cage. And two, how somebody can grab her and have her not be able to get away again when a cage is separating them. So, I don't know. I just had questions.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, she gets attacked through the bars, and she, for some reason, doesn't just back up. She fights back instead and scratches them, but then they, I guess, manage to get their arm around her and cover her nose and throat. And, like, she doesn't remember the last time someone touched her besides Midas, and she is just shocked that, like,
which is wild,
somebody is touching her. And then she hears the queen's voice ordering whoever it is that has her is to get her up. And the queen just admits, like, I knew you were hiding in the atrium. I knew you were listening, which is wild. How'd you spot her?
She's just more observant than her husband.
Yeah. That's true. She then tells Auren that she hates that that Auren is called Midas's favored, and just says you're nothing but a dog or a prize for him to parade around. And, like, Auren, I do think Auren sort of agrees a little bit. But, like, also, she's like, no, he loves me. Like, she genuinely believes that he loves her. And the queen, like, sees that on her face and says, you think he loves you? Like, no, he doesn't. Which is, like, one, how do you see that on someone's face?
Yeah. I do think, actually, it reminds me of Gallivant, which a lot of things do. But you know when Queen Madalena is singing the song, I love you as much as I could love anyone.
Yes.
I think of King Midas loving Auren as much as she could love anyone.
Right.
he could love anyone. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was just stuck in the song. I do think that he loves her more than he loves anyone else. I think that's true.
But I don't
just think that he's so narcissistic and so shitty that he can't actually love anyone.
But, like, I also feel like he loves her for superficial reasons and not for her. He doesn't actually love her for her personality.
Yes. But that's kind of like, that's what I mean. Like, I'm just thinking of the song that Madalena
I said I love you as much as someone like me can love anyone.
I love that when we hit the hay, it's more than just okay, more like middling to fair.
Yeah.
I love that. I think she just says that they look pretty together.
Yeah.
Is one of her things. Like, it's very superficial bullshit.
Yes.
Like, I feel like it's very similar. Everyone should watch
Gallivant. Yeah.
It's 100% the best musical show ever. And don't let musical take you away from it if you're not a musical person, because
The songs are hilarious.
they only enhance it. And sometimes they make fun of musicals.
But, like, even the very first song is like,
Cojones out to here.
yeah. It's like, we're gonna tell you about a hero known as Gallivant. Was it, like, oh god. Something in perfect hair. Cojones out to there. It's like the very first 4 lines of the song.
Yeah, and you're like, what the fuck am I watching?
Yeah.
And you can, like, put it on for someone and they'll be like, I don't like this, and then they're hooked.
Yeah.
You just need to put it on the TV and they'll be hooked.
Yeah. It's on Apple TV for $2.99. So
Amazing.
do it.
It's worth it.
It is worth it. So anyway, so the queen tells Auren that when Midas came to her kingdom with his power, she was so charmed by him and his proposal that, like, she didn't even mind that Auren, like, sort of came along with him. That she thought of Auren as no consequence to her. And then she says, and you're still of no consequence to me. And says, like, do you know why? And then she says, it's because you are in this cage and I am out here. And then she says, all you are is a pet for Midas to mount and show off. But then she says, the next time I catch you spying, I'm going to cut your ears off.
I guess this is why I don't think she knows the secret that I think she knows.
Right. No, you're correct. Could it I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's a different secret.
It could be about these mines, because I don't remember that bullshit at all.
No, me neither. But, like, you'd think it would be resolved enough. Well, I guess maybe we just need to read it again.
Maybe it does get resolved. Maybe we understand everything. I don't know where this whole folk line is going. I don't remember.
I do remember that.
I remember a few things, but I don't remember how they're resolved.
I don't remember the specifics, but I do remember generalities.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be next week that we get.
I believe so.
The resolution,
I think.
But I'm like confused about it.
Yeah. So I guess Auren is sort of in pain from, like, the scuffle of, and, like, someone holding her mouth and nose, like, against the bars, like, not, like, holding her and, like, holding her tight against the bars and, like, having her nose and her nose and mouth covered. And the queen and the guard, like, leave, but before they do, the queen tells the guard to, like, hit her. So he, like, hits her right in the stomach. And she goes to bed feeling, like, really anxious about the fact that, like, she's in pain and she's also tomorrow being given to folk. So she wakes up the next morning. She's really stressed that today is the day. Digby is out there on patrol, and, like, she briefly wishes that he was there last night when she was attacked by the queen. However, she remembers when she was 18, she had to, like, argue with Midas about giving her privacy while she slept and not having a night guard. And he did relent and say, okay, fine. So.
But this is what I was talking about earlier. Why does she, like you said, why does she need day guards? She's in a cage.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, this is what we get to later with, like, she doesn't have night guards. You'd think that's when she actually needs guards, is at night when she's asleep.
Yeah, because she's vulnerable.
Yeah, so I just don't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand his reasoning at all. So, she doesn't plan on telling Midas about the queen or the attack because she doesn't want to make the queen any angrier. And if she tells Midas, then he'll get angry at the queen, and she doesn't want to be on the receiving end of that. So she gets up, and she's a little sore from her attack, but then she sees that Midas brought in a gown for her at some point during the evening, during the night while she was sleeping, which is, like, creepy enough. And then she's reminded of Melina's words that she is nothing but a saddle tonight. Like, or that Melina's words that, like, she's nothing but a prize to be, like, ridden and paraded around, and that's sort of how she feels.
Yeah.
So she goes to her room, she puts on a robe, and that's when Midas actually comes in. And he asks how she slept, but she's trying to be, like, a good saddle, and she's just like, how can I help you, my lord? And, like, keeping her eyes down, and, you know, she's just behaving the way she's expected to. And he tells her that he knows she's angry at him, but he misses spending time with her and hearing her voice. So, manipulation is on. It's ready to go. So she's, like, furious and crushed, and she doesn't really know where she stands with him because he's being a dick, but he's also being kind right now. And, like, she still can't believe that he's giving her to Folk, but also, like, she knows him as Midas, like, the vigilante that saved her and, like, elevated her until she was renowned in the Sixth Kingdom. And, like, he is her friend. So, like, can't reconcile the two pieces of him that she knows. And, like, she thinks that she sees what other people don't get to see. Like, she sees his troubles and how stressed he is about stuff. And she sees that he's stressed right now, and she just asks if he's okay. And he tells her that he needs her to behave tonight, which is an odd request. And to wear the dress and not to speak unless spoken to. And essentially, everything will be okay, and she needs to trust him. So, like, not very comforting words, if you ask me. It's like, hey, I'm gonna send you to have sex with some gross guy all night, but I really need you to just trust me, please.
After nobody has been allowed to touch her for 10 years.
Yeah.
Not even casually or to cut her hair.
Yeah. So she thinks that, like, he wants her to be good. And, like, hasn't he earned her trust after all these years? But in her brain, she's like, wait, has he earned her trust? Like, she's really starting to doubt, like, doubt him.
This is like, Jesus Christ. I said the name of it earlier. The Songbird and the
Heart of Stone.
Yeah. Like, she starts to doubt a little bit because she's like, hey, maybe this isn't right.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it fucking isn't.
Well, that's what happens usually, is, like, there's usually some sort of crack in being like, actually, I probably shouldn't do, like, maybe I shouldn't be treated this way.
Yeah.
So she grabs, like, so after Midas leaves, she's just, like, so furious in her brain that she grabs a lantern and throws it and smashes it and, like, burns her hand. And, like, Digby comes in to see what's the matter, and she lies and just is like, oh, it was an accident, don't worry about it. But, like, obviously he can see she's upset.
Yeah.
So he goes and gets her a new lantern, and, like, she starts cleaning up the broken mess. But he tells her to leave it. And she's like, no, but Digby, and then he goes, leave it.
Wait.
So, like, we can tell that he actually, like, sort of knows what's going on. And, like, I don't want to say sides with her. But, like, he's been ordered to watch her. So, like, every single day, he's watching her.
Yeah.
So, obviously, he's going to feel a little bit of kinship towards her. Maybe a little bit of daughterly, like, father-daughter sort of a bond.
Yeah. Which we kind of talked about earlier.
Yeah. So, they joke a little bit before he leaves to let her get ready. And, like, she's like, I'm safe right now. But she knows that tonight, in order for her to stay, like, safe, I guess, she's gonna have to play the part of the king's favored pet and behave. But then she keeps thinking to herself, like, well, what would happen if I didn't behave?
Yeah.
And that's where we stop for this week. We don't...
What would happen?
I know. We don't learn whether she's going to behave or not. Behave. That's a word now. Apparently, behave is now a word. Ugh. Anyway, so yeah. Anyway, so that's where we're finishing this week. This book is, like, really little. It's short, even though the pages, like, it looks thick, but it's not.
Yeah. It goes fast. Well, whoops.
It does go.
It's faster than some of the books, yeah.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah, and, like, I think it's nice that we're getting through it decently quick.
Yeah.
And I do really enjoy that, like, I've forgotten most things and have to get caught up. Like, I like that it feels like a surprise again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm actually really enjoying the main character again.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I stuck with it for as long as I did, because I like her. So it'll be interesting to see if I, like, want to keep reading
After this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess we're going to wrap it up for this week. If you want to get in touch with us and share your thoughts on anything you heard in our episode, or if you have any book suggestions, please reach out to us by email at coffeeandcoread@gmail.com, or on Instagram or Facebook at Coffee and Co-Read, and coffee.coread on TikTok.
So next week, we're going to be reading chapters 9 to 13 of Gild, so make sure to follow along, and if you're enjoying our chats, don't forget to follow, rate, and review wherever you get our content. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you on the next page.